It began with a simple decision, a couple desperate for a fresh start. Maya and Arav had been married for 3 years, worn down by the noise of city life and suffocated by unspoken grief. Their young daughter Anya had passed away in her sleep 6 months ago. No warning. No illness. Just gone. They thought a change of scenery might help them heal. So when Arav stumbled upon an old countryside estate listed for cheap, they didn't hesitate. A sprawling house surrounded by dense trees, with faded bricks, rusted iron gates, and windows that stared blankly like hollow eyes. To Maya it felt forgotten by time. To Arav it felt like peace. But to the house it felt like company. On their first night the silence was thick. Maya, lying awake in bed, heard faint whispers echoing through the hallway. At first she thought it was the wind. But it wasn't. The voice was unmistakably a child's, and it was calling her name. Mama? She bolted upright, heart pounding. Arav was fast asleep beside her. The whisper came again, closer this time. Mama, why did you leave me? Maya's breath caught in her throat. Her chest tightened as if the air itself was pressing down on her. She stepped into the hallway, her bare feet cold against the wooden floor. The voice stopped. But the hallway lights flickered, and down the corridor, a door slowly creaked open on its own. It was Anya's room. Except, Anya had never lived in this house. Deep breathed. She whispered, Anya, as if hoping her voice would prove it was a dream. The shape stirred slightly. Her blood froze. A girl sat up, same age, same tiny frame, but her skin was pale as ash, and her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. When she spoke, her lips didn't move. The words echoed in Maya's mind. You promised you wouldn't forget me? Maya stumbled backward, gasping. The girl vanished instantly, leaving only the empty bed and an icy silence. She ran to the bedroom and shook Arav awake, trembling and near tears. He looked at her with groggy disbelief. You're seeing things again, Maya? This house is just old. But she knew what she saw. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't her grief. It was her daughter, or something pretending to be her. That night, Maya lay awake with the covers pulled tight. She heard scratching at the walls, faint sobbing from the vents, and her daughter's lullaby playing from somewhere deep below the floorboards. Arav never heard a thing. But Maya knew the house was listening. And it was just beginning to speak. The next morning, Maya was a shell of herself, sunken eyes, trembling hands, heart heavy with dread. Arav, still skeptical, decided to explore the house more thoroughly to ease her mind. As he moved furniture around the dusty living room, he discovered something odd beneath the frayed carpet. A square wooden hatch, sealed shut with rusted bolts. They had never seen a basement listed in the property details. Curious and increasingly uneasy, Arav fetched his tools and pried the hatch open. The heavy door creaked and exhaled a foul, earthy stench as if something long buried had stirred. A narrow staircase spiraled downward into pitch-black darkness. He descended slowly, flashlight in hand. Maya followed reluctantly, her instincts screaming against it. The basement wasn't empty, it was cluttered with old furniture, broken toys, and dozens of framed photos that seemed decades old. But the strangest thing was the far wall. It was completely covered with children's drawings, hundreds of them, scratched into the stone in charcoal and blood-red ink. Crude figures of little girls, houses on fire, people with hollow eyes. And in the center of it all, one phrase repeated over and over. She never left. Maya's breath caught. One drawing, tucked in the corner, showed a stick-figure family, 2 adults, 1 child, with a red X over the child's face. Written beneath it in shaky handwriting were the words, "They forgot me." Suddenly the flashlight flickered. A cold wind blew through the basement. Maya turned and saw her daughter's doll lying in the dirt. But they hadn't brought it with them. The basement door slammed shut above them. The light died. And in the pitch black they heard tiny footsteps approach, and a whisper. "You found me, Mama." The darkness was suffocating. Maya clutched Arav's arm as the invisible footsteps circled them, soft, deliberate, like a child playing hide-and-seek in the pitch black. The air grew colder with each second, and then came the laughter. It wasn't joyful. It was hollow. Mocking. Wrong. Then, flick, Arav's flashlight sputtered back on for a moment, casting a cone of dim light. What they saw made their blood run cold. The basement was no longer empty. Children, dozens of them, stood silently around the walls. Their eyes glowed faintly, their faces pale and blank, as if the life had been drained from them long ago. Each wore a school uniform, dusty and torn. Maya noticed one girl in the center with pigtails and a crooked smile. Her face looked just like Anya's. But it wasn't her. It couldn't be. The girl stepped forward. We lived here before you. She brought us here. Who? Arv managed to ask, voice shaking. The girl pointed upward. The woman in white. She watches the children. She loves them too much. When they leave, she brings them back. Maya remembered now. Just before Anya's death, she'd read her a bedtime story about a haunted school and a ghostly teacher. Anya had been fascinated, obsessed even. Was it just a story? Or was something darker at work? Suddenly, the walls of the basement began to pulse, like the house was breathing. A crack split open the floor beneath them, revealing a void swirling with ash and shadow. Screams echoed from deep below, not just Anya's, but many voices, young, pleading. The girl spoke again. You have to remember her. That's how she lives. Then they all vanished. The door above creaked open by itself, light flooding in. Maya and Arv didn't speak as they scrambled out of the basement. But that night, Anya's photo on the mantel had changed. She wasn't smiling anymore. She was watching. The house no longer tried to hide its secrets. Whispers filled every room now, echoes of forgotten children, lullabies warped by grief. Shadows moved when no one was there. The scent of old books and burnt fabric lingered in the halls. And Maya felt it all, deep in her bones. The worst part? The photo kept changing. Each morning, Anya looked a little older, a little angrier. Her eyes followed Maya from room to room, filled with longing and betrayal. Maya couldn't sleep. She wandered the halls at night, whispering apologies into the dark, clutching Anya's doll like it was a lifeline. Arv began to distance himself. He couldn't take the silence, the cold, the weight of a child they'd lost but could never let go. One night, the whispers grew louder, overlapping voices calling for their mothers, their fathers, for freedom. Maya followed the sound to the attic. She found the old rocking chair creaking on its own, facing the window. There, the woman in white sat, her face pale and veiled, arms cradling something invisible. As Maya stepped closer, the figure slowly turned. Where a face should have been, there was nothing, just a hollow void. The rocking chair stopped. You forgot her, the voice hissed, not from the figure but from inside Maya's head. You let her go. No, Maya whispered, eyes brimming with tears. I never forgot her. You moved on. She watched. She waited. Now she's mine. Suddenly, Anya appeared beside the chair, transparent, eyes sad. Mama, she said softly. Maya dropped to her knees, sobbing. I'm so sorry, baby. I remember everything. With those words, the woman in white screamed, an inhuman, bone-rattling wail. The attic trembled. Windows shattered. And then silence. Anya smiled one last time, and faded. The house went still. They left the next day. But a year later, a family moved in. And in the attic window, a rocking chair still moved. Alone. Waiting.